Alright, let's do some maintenance on the M2. Normally, today's Saturday, normally I'd be playing, but I decided to take a break today, save up some cash, and normally I do this Friday night before I go and play on Saturday, but since I'm not going to go play this Saturday, I'm going to maintenance now, and I'll probably maintenance again right before I play. The M2 itself has in the board, somewhere in here, like a, let's see if I can find it, performance, data, training, data, shot counter, total shots, service system, there we go. So it tells you like when you should service your high pressure, low pressure bolt. I never really mess with this. Sometimes I go in there and I reset them, but I'm not gonna do that this time. What I usually do is I service the bolts before I go and play. Every single time I go and play, the day before I service the bolt, which is what I'm gonna do in this video for sure. And about 10 cases or so, I'll do the high pressure regulator, and every 20 cases or so, I'll do the low pressure regulator. Unless I happen to get any problems with any of them, then obviously I'll service them. But yeah, this is just going to be a basic maintenance video, so we're going to do the bolt maintenance, and then I'll talk through the low pressure and high pressure, but I'm not actually going to break it down. First things first, let's go ahead and take the barrel off. Just pretty much make sure it's clean, and that's good to go. You can go ahead and break it down, and that's pretty much it. You might need to swab it off. You can set it to the side for now. What you will need for maintenance, if you're going to service the regulators, you're going to need some Allens, and you're going to need lube. I stick to the dye stuff just because I like it. Monkey Poo is pretty good too. You'll also need a microfiber. I have this Exalt one here. It's pretty dense. Okay, let's go ahead and take apart the fuse bolt. Take it out of the gun, push the button. Pretty easy. You can go ahead and set your gun aside for now. So this is the fuse bolt. Pretty much how it works is your low pressure regulator controls the speed of the bolt and how much pressure is used to move the bolt back and forth, pretty much. Your high pressure regulator is what stores all the pressure, air pressure in the back here, and it goes when it's in the, so the high pressure is here and the low pressure is up here. And what happens is when you shoot your bolt, the low pressure switches from here to here, and it pushes the bolt forward. Then all the high pressure air that's stored in the back goes through and out the bolt, and then it switches back, pushing this bolt back in, and high pressure is back stored. Really works really well. Really tunable with the two regulators. A lot of people like to tune theirs so that it's a really smooth, slow bolt. That's why you get those M2s with the famously smooth, buttery shot. I have tuned mine like that in the past. You'll see up ahead when I air the gun up to just make sure there's no leaks, that I have actually been tuning it with a high-low pressure. It comes stock, I believe, at 56 or 65. It's one of those two. Let me double check actually. 65 psi. And they tell you not to mess with it, but a lot of people, like I said, like to have theirs in the lower than that, around 45 to 54. I actually like to have mine higher than that. I think mine's running at 72 psi right now. It makes for my M2 to be really efficient. I think right now I'm getting like 12-ish pods unofficially. I haven't done an efficiency tests, but maybe we can do that in the future. But yeah, like I said, and it's a harder shot, so I get a little bit more feedback when I'm shooting. Sometimes it's a little weird for me to be shooting and not really feel anything and just kind of see balls fly out. Some people like that, some people don't. I came from shooting poppets originally when I started paintball, so it was cool at first for me, but now I kind of like to go back to that feel of a poppety feel. You know, I like the feedback. So after I shot my buddy's Geo3, I tuned mine to pretty much feel like it's like shooting like a Geo3 almost. It's still smoother because of this fuse bolt. It's really smooth still, and I'm getting a lot of efficiency out of it, so it's a plus for me. Sorry about that shaking there. First thing you want to do is take off this O-ring right here. Use this. Take the O-ring off. Don't lose it. Set it aside. And what you can do, pull this apart. This apart as well, and pull that out. Alright. So this is pretty much the bolt taken apart in its entirety. You can, if you really want, break it down even further. But there is no O-ring in this back part here, and I don't believe there's an O-ring in there either. You'll see some people do spring mod, where pretty much they put like a little spring back here, and what it does is it keeps the bolt stuck forward until air is put into it, and then it'll stick back. It simulates pretty much like a Lux or a Vanquish, and it also improves the efficiency of the M2. So it allows for people to lower their low pressure regulator and maintain efficiency. But what you're going to want to do from here on out is wipe down all the old grease. I've owned quite a bit of different guns, all the way from a Mini to a Geo to an E-Tech to a G6R to a PM8 to a DM12 to the Shocker RSX, autocockers. I've owned some. Let's see, what else have I owned? I say DM12 already. Lux, I've owned a Lux. Yeah, some of them my Tech Mac. These are just tools that I have off to the side, like O-ring picks, extra Allens, etc., but we're not going to need them for that. For this video, it doesn't look like I need to replace any O-rings. What you want to do is you're breaking the bolt apart is, of course, check for any O-rings that you might need to replace, but these all look pretty good. Yeah. Make sure you clean out everything, to the inside and everything. It should look real clean. These little cages should look real clean. Yeah. Alright, anyway, back to what I was saying is I've definitely owned a lot of different guns, and the fuse bolt, so my PM8, my DM12, and the M2 definitely been my favorite shooting ones. They just shoot great, man. They really do, and it's proven. There's a reason why the DM is the most winningest gun out there. Although, with recent events, feel like that might change to the Planet Eclipse guns. A lot more people are shooting them nowadays. Edmonton Impact, Dynasty for a while, now they shoot Bob Long, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes now. Alright. So what you're going to want to do from here on out, sorry about that, heard a noise, is just take a little bit of grease, just a little bit, put it on each O-ring, here, here, and here. See, it's not a whole lot, you really don't need that much. And then these back two. Be careful with these tail O-rings, you want to make sure that they're lubed, but you don't want to put too much lube on them because it causes, what I've noticed is causes some bolt stick. Basically what I do is I just run my finger and my thumb across and just make sure that I grease these O-rings up. And it looks good. Same thing here. Looks pretty good. Might need a little bit more on this one. If you have any leaks with any of your DMs, your M2s, any system that uses the fuse bolt system, really, any gun that uses the fuse bolt system, I would replace, let's see, this O-ring right here. It tends to be the source of many leaks and also the problem of many leaks. And the reason being is if you look at it, it is the most upright O-ring, and it's the one causing the most friction in the bolt. So it's going to be the one that breaks the most, and it also happens to be the most important because it seals a whole lot of air. So I like to go inside out, so what we'll do is we'll get these inside O-rings now. Like I said, just a little bit in there. You can see that. It seems to be the only O-ring. With my pinky, get it all in there. And then we'll get these two inner O-rings. Get this orange one right here, and this blue one right here. Also want to make sure you have clean hands. I've definitely seen people maintain their guns with, like, right when they come back from the field, and they just don't even wash their hands before they got still all dirt and muck from the field. And then they go and air up their gun and they don't realize why their gun's still leaking. And I'm like, come on, man. Alright, so what we can do is we can put this back together. Make sure everything's moving all smooth. Do here. Yeah, it's moving pretty good. That back together. Throw our front O-ring on. And a good test, see if I'll be able to get it on camera. Good test to see if you have enough lube is a little flick test. You just give the bolt a little flick and the bolt should fly right out. There you go. That's how much. I put a little bit of lube on this O-ring, and then we'll cover the outer O-rings. Alright. Rub the excess on the bolt itself. These O-rings are important because they do seal, but they're not, they're static O-rings, so you really don't need as much lube. So just make sure that they're in good condition, really, is the most important part. And that they are, we'll just use the word moist, I guess. Right, there we go. So there's that. So let's go ahead and bring the M2 back. Let's stick the bolt back in. Alright, basically, to service the high pressure regulator and the low pressure regulator, you're going to have a little retention nut here. Screw, it's the bottom one. Mine's missing, so mine's not in there, but normally, take it out. Then you pull this off. And right here you have your low pressure regulator, and here you have your high pressure regulator. Now, you'll notice that there are two Allen key sides. The two Allen keys, the smaller one is to adjust, and the larger one is to remove the retention nut. When you remove the retention nut, you can take out the rest of the internals. It runs on shim stacks, so all that you're really going to have to do is be careful that when they come out, that you put them back in the same order. You can find many pictures online depicting on how they should go, but basically they're little curved washers, and they act as a spring. Make sure that they're clean, lube up the O-ring, replace any O-rings that might need to be replaced, stick them all back in the same order that you found them, and you should be good to go. Keep in mind, if you do happen to adjust the velocities of each, or adjust any of them, how many turns you're coming out or going in to pull the HPR, the low pressure, out, because then you can just put them back in, and you should be right around the same as you were shooting beforehand. Now we can go ahead and throw the barrel back on. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab some air. And make sure that I have no leaks. So I'll be right back. I have air. Maybe not this tank. We shall see. A little bit of air. Let's see. I'll show you my pressures. Probably won't be able to pick it up on camera, but like I said, I do run a higher LPR and a lower HPR. When you raise one, you can lower the other. So let's see. Last thing we'll do is turn the eyes off and just make sure that it works. Alright, it's working. Go ahead and degas the gun. There we go. Thanks for watching, guys.